The movie takes place during a conflict between East and West Katana. The two nations have agreed to meet with the UN in Thailand just a few days from now for peace talks. The film begins with a SWAT team chasing two men onto the rooftop of a high-rise building. The police sergeant Mark recognizes the suspect as his old friend Kham, who's usually a law-abiding citizen. Through with talking, Kham slits the throat of his hostage, forcing his friend to shoot him from the 20-story building. We don't see the impact, but instead cut to some time earlier where Kham lives a quiet life with his elephant Corn. He teaches the village children dance moves based on elephant expressions, but they just want him to teach them Muay Thai. The moment he tries to show them the basics, the judgmental villagers approach and take their children away from the corruption. While passing through town, Kham's pulled up by the town nutjob. He's a paranoid genius relating to anything tech and electrifies his store's entrance simply for a laugh. When Kham gets home, he finds a businessman named Suchart on his property. He's heard about Corn's pedigree and offers a large sum of money in exchange for the beast, but Kham refuses despite threats from the henchman as he's part of the family. Seemingly taking the rejection well, Suchart departs, but not before his henchman has a tantrum and throws a business card in Kham's face. Afterwards, Kham leaves his friend Job to watch over the elephant while he goes into town for supplies. He sees a report about elephants having their faces cut off by poachers and hurries home worried, finding Job's been attacked in his absence and Corn's been elephant napped. Using the business card, Kham goes to Suchart's home for answers and fights his way through the lacking henchmen. The evil merchant has two silent nieces, Ping Ping and Su Su, by his side, but he sends them away while he speaks on the phone with his client. Now that the person on the other end's received Kham's elephant, he has no need for Suchart's business and concludes it. So by the time Kham's fought his way into the poacher's ivory-clad office, he finds him already murdered. Ping and Su enter and find their uncle dead with the man standing over him, their prime suspect. The two fight simultaneously with skill beyond their vocab and with Su using a retractable taser, but he evades their attacks and attempts to escape the compound. The authorities arrive within seconds of being alerted, but Kham escapes with only the sisters able to keep up. Su eventually succumbs to the cardio, so Ping sticks an acupuncture needle in her neck to recover. Just then Mark intercepts the criminal but notices it's Kham, so he lets his friend go while pretending to other officers he was disarmed. When he inspects the body, Mark's told by investigators that Suchart was killed by 3 brutal strikes from a well-trained martial artist. Meanwhile, we see Corn being delivered to an arms dealer called Mr. LC, who runs an underground fight club involving fighters who tattoo their rank on them, as I guess it never changes. The posturing rank 31 demands a showdown with a higher rank opponent, so LC puts him against a tiny woman who has her rank tattooed across her chest. The two engage with the 20th ranked fighter, handily defeating 31 without taking a single strike, then finishes him with an elbow and a stomp. 20 then requests to face the rank number 2 fighter, but LC doesn't think she's ready, which is 100% true when you see this dude's skill. Later on, Mark meets with Kham in secret to learn that this is all over an elephant and tells him to just move on. Mark's here to protect the UN summit as they've uncovered a terrorist plot against him. He draws his pistol on Kham, believing him to have something to do with it when Suchart's nieces attack. Ping witnessed Mark's loyalty to Kham and they've been following him to locate their uncle's suspected killer. When they're faced with Mark's pistol, a biker gang flattens him, having been hired by Suchart's real killer. The two attacking groups are unrelated, and as the sisters fight the riders off downstairs, Kham takes the conflict to the rooftops. The gangsters use their bikes as weapons, with some riding scooters with attached predator blades on the front. Amongst some of the more unique moves are when chased up a ramp through a roof, Kham elbows his opponent back down. Leaping from building to building, Scooter Blade attempts the jump but gets caught up in the power lines and falls off. While trying to push against a rider, Kham pulls him throat first into a roof sheet, then throws another 2 off the building into the one neighboring. After killing a few more, 2 attempt to follow Kham over a train line but are cleaned up by a passing train. When Kham descends down to the street, he hijacks one of the gang's bikes before seeing the overwhelming number of members. The horde chase him through the city, all armed and wearing some of the strongest helmets ever created. Eventually the bikes turn into cars and Kham scooped up in a high-speed race through the city. The driver drifts through restaurants trying to shake him off the roof and eventually drives under a fuel truck, while a second car goes through the tank, causing it to explode and just misses landing on top of Kham. He steals another bike and takes the chase onto the highway, where he climbs on top of a truck while going over a bridge. A townsperson finally draws a gun and uses it to shoot the truck's tire out, which crashes into the railing. Kham's flung over the edge, but a rope catches his foot and slings him under the bridge, right around and onto the other side in a complete loop. The long chase finally ends when Kham jumps into the back of another truck and escapes the scene. At LC's headquarters, it's learned that he once saved number 20's life, so she's completely devout to him. He tests number 38 and 24 with a pistol to see which one has the most courage, then puts him with his number 2 fighter and sends them to kill Kham. Having had no time to rest, Kham's met by KC's number 2, who records the fight for training purposes. The sisters show up again at the worst time and Ping takes on Kham while Sue battles KC's fighters. Sue quickly dispatches them and leaves to join her sister, where Kham and Ping are constantly saving each other from the other fighters while simultaneously trying to fight each other. The younger sister uses her retractable taser throughout the fight until she sees number 2 enter and goes him alone. He's unfazed by the taser, and the second best quickly kills Sue with the 3-hitter the same way her uncle was. Seeing this, Ping goes for number 2 and is about to be killed herself when Kham saves her and faces the fighter alone. He's faster than anyone Kham's faced before and makes Kham look like he's moving in slow motion. Eventually Kham starts to find his rhythm when a grieving Ping finally rejoins the fight. During the tussle she throws a needle into the back of Kham's neck without him noticing, before getting herself knocked unconscious. The two warriors engage again, but this time number 2 starts to notice Kham's become groggy and is unable to perform. He knocks the challenger unconscious, then finds the needle and is angry that he only won the fight because his opponent was handicapped. Meanwhile, Mark's discovered by Interpol to be Kham's friend and is suspected by them of helping a terrorist. He's currently being held hostage by the bikers when Ping takes out the whole gang and interrogates Mark herself, but she's bumped and accidentally pokes him in the face with a needle. Now with no feeling, he takes her to the coroner's office to prove his innocence in the murder. The morgue attendant walks her through the 3-hit combo that killed Suchart, making her realize it's the same method used by number 2. Kham's been taken hostage by LC, who wants the fighter to join his team of elite killers. He uses Job to convince him, then shoots him dead when he still refuses to join. But the traitor stands up, having been working for LC all along, in order to keep an eye on who he considers to be the number 1 fighter in the world. He uses a remote control to torture both Kham and Korn with an invention of his own making, then throws him back onto the street with the task of assassinating a politician involved in the peace talks. During the night, an undercover officer records the torture and attempts to upload it to his superiors, but is spotted by number 20. She enters his room and seduces him into letting his guard down, then breaks his neck on the bedhead in a rather tacked-on side story. LC makes it appear to Interpol that Kham's doing it all willingly, as he's had a large sum of money transferred into his account and the politician was in bed with Suchart. With no other option but to fulfill the task to get his elephant back, Kham fights his way through the politician's office with only one knee in particular standing out. He makes light work of the guards and takes the man hostage, where we now catch up to the beginning of the movie. It turns out Kham didn't even kill the target, just cut his tie, and when he plunged from the rooftop he landed in a pool and survived. When the other officers leave, Kham reconnects with Mark and has him help with removing the electrical device, and hears on the radio that Korn's to be presented to the Katana leaders during the peace talks. Ping takes hostage the man delivering the payments to the bikers and has him drive her around like a zombie with needles in his head. She goes to LC's home and finds the place abandoned, as he's currently on the roof of a building overlooking the temple housing the peace talks. He's having his own secret meeting with a group of separatists, planning to assassinate both Katana leaders with explosives hidden inside Korn's tusks in order to incite a war to sell more weapons. Ping goes to the building and fights her way through KC's fighters until being met halfway by Kham. The two work together to defeat the henchmen while showcasing some of the cleanest strikes in the film. During the fight, the two are separated and Ping's forced to take on number 2 alone. She throws her needles, but he slips everyone and beats her around a floor full of gasoline barrels. Right when Ping's defeated, she uses her sister's taser to ignite the floor and passes out, with number 2 unable to get to her through a wall of fire. Kham's fighting a level below and the fire begins raining down, making his fight extra cinematic. While moving around, his shoes catch on fire, making the kicks super effective and finishing off the remaining attackers. When he reaches the boss level, Kham's attacked by number 2, who comes at him extra aggressive. Kham shows him why he's considered number 1 and the tide begins to change, as the Thai boxer flying knees his opponent through a skylight into a subway below. After defeating another few henchmen with some high-flying slow-motion attacks, 2 steps back out and they continue their fight. The second best soaks his shoes in water and uses the live rail to electrify his strikes. At one point, Kham catches a kick and a train passes over them in the most awkward position. For the epic finisher, a giant vent bounces over number 2 as Kham leaps over it and comes down with an elbow from the heavens. Now able to confront LC, the arms dealer hypes up 24 like he's gonna do something, but Kham finishes him with a single blow. Surprisingly, LC's highly trained and considers himself the best fighter with his little zero tattoo. Despite claiming this, the fight's a lot easier than some of Kham's others, and it ends abruptly when both go flying through a window, but only Kham stands back up. He tells Mark that there's a bomb, so the officer begins screaming to scare everyone away. Kham gets to the temple and they catch Job, but he's of no help and says the bombs can't be disarmed. LC wakes up and has number 20 try to save him by saying they should escape, but he strangles his loyal partner to death for suggesting they retreat, and because he sucks. The moment the tusks detach, they'll detonate, so Kham plans to throw them off a cliff when suddenly LC enters and clotheslines a charging Mark. He begins wailing on Kham, when Ping enters and begins to hold her own until she's thrown into the wall that is a returning number 2. It becomes a crapshoot as everyone's fighting everyone while Kham's holding the tusks to prevent them from falling and killing them all. Finally, Ping's able to land a needle on number 2, paralyzing him, then defeats him by pretzeling him between 2 rocks. Since fists won't do the job, LC cracks Kham in the head with a piece of wood and grabs hold of the tusks, but Korn lifts him off the ground, allowing Kham to kick him through the air and detonate the tusks away from them. The explosion kills LC and flings both Kham and Korn off the side of the cliff into the ocean. Shaken but still alive, the two brothers exit the water safe at last, as Mark and Ping smile down from above. And the movie ends. So you made it. I appreciate your time. I couldn't have done it without you. Tell your mother I said thanks.